Hello, this is Candy, and welcome to Sweet Insights from the Divine. I want to see if anybody can hop on here because the last time they couldn't hear me, so I had to make some adjustments in my setting. Hold on. Can you hear me? Oh, there she is. Yay, thanks Angela for the thumbs up. So again, this is Candy, and this is Sweet Insights from the Divine, where I answer questions intuitively by channeling the messages from your guides through my spirit guides as well. So welcome. And I wanted to say that I had an interesting situation happened. I had two questions that paralleled each other. And I want to utilize this as an example of energy and how it works before I answer the questions in depth. So the first question was about birth, and the last question, or the second question, was about death and passing, our idea of death on this earth. So the first thing I want to show you is just an example of how energy interacts and how energy works. One question being about the beginning and one being about the end and beyond. So here we go. My first question that I have is, my question is, a loved one lost her adult child and is really struggling because it feels like he is getting further away from her. What happens over there after we pass, and is he forgetting us? So I'm just connecting with my guides to answer this question. I've already read for this person, so I can feel the energy around the situation. The best way to answer this question and make it easier for others to understand is by talking about some stages of death that I've seen, of passing, because I don't believe that there's death, but we use the word death because once we can't see our loved ones anymore, we start to feel a disconnection with them. So I asked my guides to settle me down because I don't know why I was getting emotional about this subject. So what's really cool about as people transition is I see multiple levels of transition myself through reading for people that are just about ready to pass or who are nonverbal on this earth and passing. There's been a couple instances I want to explain. I remember it was my mother, and there's two other reference points that I wanted to make. When people their bodies are failing significantly, and it doesn't seem like their body's going to retransition into this world, I can feel the spirit of the person in this safe and loving space of limbo, where they exit their body. And I've also been told this by people from their mouths to my ears multiple times about, that they've passed, their body's left this body, but their astral body or spirit self is watching this body as it's trying to come back to life. And for those people, it did come back into life. But I've also watched it the other way, where the body can't accept the spirit back because sometimes it's too broken, or in both cases, that or three cases I've seen, the body just wasn't able to come back to life. So there was this in-between stage of passing. This in-between stage of passing is very comforting to the spirit self. They don't feel pain, they don't feel connection with the body, but they are able to have people with them where they're at in their space, spirit guides. They have conversations with the guides that support them on this earth and help them to transition. I remember one gentleman who wasn't particularly a big believer in the afterlife and probably didn't live the best life I've ever seen. His energy felt very wonky, almost like walking in mucky water. Um, he felt confused, congested, almost like he couldn't see to the other side for a while. I do remember when he passed, I checked into that energy space and he felt good. He felt like he had a realization or saw the lessons of his life. So that's the in-between. There was a couple other people I saw in the in-between that were just in such beautiful places, just in a kind of a holding type of a position, ready to go, ready to leave. Sad to say goodbye to their family, but not sad is, such a kind of a dramatic word. It was just transitional. They felt the feelings of transition, not fear or sadness, just a light transition. So once I've seen the spirit pass, what do they look like then? Sometimes I've had a couple different situations with that when I do my medium work, is I've seen people come back very similar to the energy that they are. I see my one aunt and she loves cigarettes and she's still smoking them, or has been. I haven't talked to her for a while. Has been smoking them on the other side. She likes smoking, The other spirit, when he newly transitioned, he liked his beer and he was willing and very able to show me that he can enjoy that on the other side. Do they do it virtually or spiritually? That would be my guess. But we can create what we want on the other side, as well as here. Then after a while, I see another transition start to happen to the spirit. When people were in the in-between stages, I could see them so clearly, so profoundly, connect with them really quickly. After they leave, I can connect with them, but they feel different. They feel lighter. They feel like they're visiting, not like they, we can create what we want on the other side as well as here. So once they start transitioning, I think they go through their own steps and stages. And I know the other day I was just thinking about the evolution of the spirit on the other side. I think they start making decisions about what they don't want to do. Again, they see their mistakes lovingly and gently and sweetly, and they start specking out a new game plan about where do they want to grow the next time around. What do they want to do? How do they want to contribute? How do they want to show up? One of the things I've seen spirit entities do that are on the other side, and when they're reevaluating this process, is asking, because we have free will here, we can create things. So it's like we set our goals on the other side. We come here. Are we living the goals? Sometimes we are, and sometimes we start slipping back into who we are. Consciously, I don't think that we change a lot. We just grow and develop. The same way when I was 16, and now at my age, I'm completely a different person. I'm the same skin, same bones, same flesh, but I'm a different person inside because I set parameters of growth and I feel like I'm achieving some. I also feel like I failed at some. So that's kind of the same thing that's happening on the other side. So with that question, I also want to make two really great recommendations. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I can just tell you what I see on the other side, but here's a couple books that I absolutely love. Brian Weiss. I would start with this one. I'm sorry. I always get confused when I'm looking at myself in this. Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. It's I really like when I educate myself on areas that seem really well documented. He's a very well-known past life regressionist, and just take a peek at the book if you really want to know what's happening on the other side. He has documented cases through one woman of 80 some past lives, and he documented these through video or audio many years ago and is very well known for that. And I also love this book, Messages from the Masters, Tapping into the Power of Love, which my personal belief is that's what we were ultimately all created to give and to do, is to share love. So I want to just be real specific and answer the question about what happens over there and is he forgetting us? Kind of yes and no. They can come anytime that they want to visit. They can show up at a beckoning call. So I don't think they completely forget about us. But they are living a different life. They're not here. They're not on earth. We are all spirit beings. So it's kind of like going home and then spending the whole week going home to see your parents and then spending the whole weekend with, on Facebook with your friends. Like, how would that be in alignment if what you really wanted to do was see your parents? So it's kind of, they're, on the other side, they're living a different life. I've seen people have jobs. I remember my one uncle came in, and he had this really cool jacket on. I'll never forget it. It was before I really knew I had a great connection with my medium work. And he had a jacket that was pink, purple, and like lavender. It went into these opalescent colors. And he was always an inventor on this earth and a creator. And I said, to my uncle, I said, what kind of jacket is that? And he goes, I made it. Because there's certain threads that I put together to create this jacket. It was kind of ironic because he loved to dress well and he loved to create and invent. So that was one of the things he was into doing. I've seen people, there was my one girlfriend's dog that was very well loved. It was this big collie. It lived 16 and a half years. And they even had an obituary in the paper when it died because it was so loved. It was never leashed. Always listened, always seemed human-like. And one of that dog's responsibilities was helping small children that abruptly leave this earth and kind of felt a little confused as they were transitioning, and they would just start petting the puppy. And the puppy would take them to the next level, and they would feel happy and not so scared. And scared is kind of a strong word, but feel later about the transition, move with greater ease. So is he forgetting us? I don't think he's forgetting. I think he's transitioning. Remember, he's out of pain. He's joyful. He has lessons to learn. He has some assignments to do to reestablish his next lifetime. So that's the end of this question, meaning, what I see is this transition. So you have birth here, then we have our life here that we're living. And then as we pass, this is the passing of time. And then there's a transition as we're on the other side that we just talked about. So I want to start from the beginning because we also have a birth question. So I hope that answered the passing question and the development or evolution of the spirit on the other side. He's not forgetting. He can be there at any time. I have a question about my daughter, Emily. She's been trying to have a baby for a year now. Let me see if that person's on. And I was wondering if the time is near. So the first thing I want to talk about is time, because it's essential, and then I'll connect with this lovely lady, Emily, and her energy. But this is really important to talk about time. Time is a very unique subject when I'm connected to the other side. Time is not like it is here. We think of life as, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We think of January, February, March, April, going throughout the year until December. Time isn't like that over there. Time is more fluid. It doesn't seem to exist. So giving timing when I ask and connect with the other side is probably one of the hardest, honestly, things I can do. Sometimes I'll get a hit. I had a girlfriend that I know her daughter was trying to get pregnant, had multiple miscarriages. And as I walked into my kitchen, all of a sudden I just hit this kind of a wall energetically, and it said, our daughter is pregnant. So I just looked at her and I said, how's your daughter doing? Like, is she pregnant? And she goes, I don't think so. And like 2 weeks later, she called me and she was. I didn't predict that. I was given that answer. So, or at least I was given a suggestion that things were in the works to happen. When I saw my son, his birth, it was in 1993. And if anybody out there is a mother and has ever nursed a baby, there's a feeling of letdown when you're nursing a baby. And in the morning hours, very early, like 6 o'clock, when I was just coming out of sleep and awake, I would be lying there and I kept feeling this baby nursing from my breast. And finally I said, is there a baby here? Because I was wide awake. And I closed my mind's eye and I saw my son at about the age of 16 to 18 months. I wish I would have drawn the picture or been able to go to somebody to draw a picture of him. I knew he was coming. When I had cancer, I knew he was coming, even though it was in an area that was going to be needed in order to, create this child and bring him to fruition. That was in 1993. He was born in 2000. So with that being said, I'm going to look at the energy and see, because getting pregnant is the same thing as life lessons. Part of the process of getting pregnant, the highs and the lows. Sometimes people get pregnant when they're 20 and they're not expecting it. Some people get pregnant when they're 40 and they're not expecting it. And then some people try for years and fail. Like my mother, she was, I don't know, I guess she was 32 when she adopted me, and they waited for me for 10 years. So I was 9.5 and she conceived her first and only child, her birth child. So with all of that being said, let's look at Emily's energy and see what I can see just for Emily. So what I do is I start asking questions. Is there a child around Emily? Yes. The answer is yes to that. Is there a physiological problem with Emily? I'm hearing no. Is this child coming soon? Lessons to be learned yet is what I heard. I do see a little girl energy around her. I'm not predicting a birth of a girl, but I do want to say that children kind of wait in line. I think it has something to do with karma, people wanting to complete karmic circles in this lifetime. And so I think there's always kind of a line of children that want to come when the timing is right, when the spouse is right, et cetera, et cetera. When everything lines up, boop, baby comes in to the energy field of life. So Emily, I do see a little girl. I see that there's lessons to be learned yet. I'd love to talk to her more about that. I'm asking if there's any blocks of conception. They're saying yes. And some are a little bit up here, when we try, we just get so uber focused. And I remember when I got a positive diagnosis that I didn't have the cancer that I had. And with no treatment. It was literally, they called it a miracle healing. And it was in the newspaper. TLC came and did a story on it of the birth of my son, Phoenix. Once the doctor said, you're cancer-free, and looked at my husband and said, here's the prenatal prescription, guys. Go make a baby. He says, I don't know if you can, because I've never seen this before, but I would try. The minute he said that, I completely forgot about having a baby. I didn't try anymore. I thought, if God gave me this miracle, he is totally in the driver's seat at this point. And I never thought about it again. My hysterectomy was scheduled April 16th. And 2 years later, on April 17th, I found out this month that I was pregnant with my son, Phoenix. So I think one of the secrets here for Emily is kind of get relaxed with this process and ask what lessons you're to learn about the getting pregnant process. Because if you've been doing it for a year, there's a little bit of lesson to be learned here. And I'm not sure what the lesson is they're not showing me, because it's your lesson to learn. But I like the energy around Emily, and I like this little girl that I'm seeing that is waiting. So time will take care of that, and I don't know what the time frame is. I don't want to say one thing and it's another, but that's where that is. So any other questions today on the Candy channel? I don't think I will have my own children in this lifetime. Do you think there's some karmic reason for it? Like, is there another purpose for me other than being maternal? Yes and no. I don't think that you're not maternal. Conceiving and raising a child is really, the animalistic instinct of us. Creating a child is just that. Raising a child is a whole other process. I do, Kelly, feel really that there's a lot of maternal energy around you, and that you are meant to serve maternal purposes in other ways. So I think that that's really beautiful, a beautiful gift that you've been given, is to be able to have your own space in this life to develop the things that you need and want to develop, but yet be maternal to the children that are around you that need your love and support and your nurturing and your mothering. So I think that's a beautiful gift in and of itself. Yeah, I don't really see children in this lifetime at this point. I don't see it. But like I said, I'm definitely not the answers for everybody. All that I can do is see the moment. Time is it's definitely not this. It's definitely not linear by any means. Let's see, any other questions today on the Candy channel? Okay. I hope that this, for Kelly and Angela, I hope this answers the questions. I hope the other person can connect to this video that I will be publishing and posting. Trying to think of anything else that they want me to say before we close. Okay, thank you. Wow, that was a good one. Living in the moment. They just wanted to put that out there. They really want people to live in the moment more, because when we live in the hopes for the future, or connecting or feeling lost, the things that we lost in the past, it's not the meant to be. What's meant to be is the joy of today. Today, I had food in my belly. I woke up in a nice clean bed, and it's a bright sunny day. And so what is it? You're welcome. Thank you. What is it that, hi, Marianne. What is it that you can learn from living today, living in the moment today? That's another message that they really, your guides, their guides want. My guides, your guides want you to hear. I came in late. So I'm going to post this video, and you'll be able to see the response of the baby question, okay? So anyways, I think that that's what they really want us to look at today, is when we get too anxious about the future, when we get too sad about the past, then we're not living the gift. Life is the biggest gift that we can have, and living it to its fullest, connecting with ourselves and checking in. Are we doing what we're supposed to do? Are we living as kind? The kindness factor that we have inside, are we as kind as we can be to each other and to appreciate the moment that we're in. So I'm wishing you all such a blessed day, blessings from above, living in this present moment and sending so much love and joy to all of you. Any other questions before we head out? Okay. Much love. I'm ending this and then it will be posted for your review of the baby question. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye.